So a few other details about list views that I think you'll find helpful. I mentioned that if you have a view that is private, you can always easily make it accessible to others. So I'm just going to go in here and say the sharing settings. We originally chose only I can see these. We can make it public for anyone to take a look at by saying all users can look at it, or we do have the option here if we wanted to share with a specific list of users, we would have this option as well. And if we create some groups, we can type in who's supposed to see this list. So you can change that pretty easily. I'm just going to move this to all users can view and click save. Now I'm going to tell you one of the pitfalls or the risks of having these all user views. So let's say that someone else comes into my list here and they realize that this has open and closed leads, and they say, oh, well, I'm working in whatever state. I'm working in Maryland. So what I really need are all the ones, it's good that I'm seeing all these, but I want to add in another filter, and I want to say that the state is Maryland. So state province equals, and then I'm just going to type in, since it's not a pick list, MD, and I just want to filter for that list and see. Okay, perfect. And so then they click into Mike and they go on their merry way, and they don't realize that they just changed everyone's view. And the next time you're in here, let's say that there were, I don't know, 50 or 60 of these, and you think that that's all the open and closed leads because you see all those leads at the top, and you start working through those leads. You don't realize that this person went in and changed this list view, and it affected everybody in the organization. So a best practice is to tell people, hey, if you're going to be in any one of these list views that's viewed by everybody, you always need to start any edits you want to make by making a clone and leaving it as private for your own viewing. And then if you don't need it after that, delete it. But don't change my view just because you want to see something different. That's also why one of my best practice suggestions is that when you go into any of these views that are shared by others, that you always click this filter icon and check to make sure no one did something silly like filter it down to a specific state. If they did, I would say, okay, let's go ahead and remove that filter, and you have to click save in order to commit the changes. And now we're seeing the entire list of all leads opened or closed. So keep that in mind, be aware of that. The other thing you can do is if you know that they are in the list, someone's in a list, you can use this search here. And if I say, I don't know if we've got a Debbie in here, so I do see a Kathy. I'll just go ahead and put Kathy in here. When I hit enter, it's going to filter whatever's in that list down to just the people that have Kathy in the name. Also, if I get rid of this, it's going to go back to the full list. So I'm just going to hit enter again. You're going to notice on longer lists, I'll go into contacts here, go to all. They load 50 at a time. Yeah, so I need to get to a, hopefully there's maybe opportunities. I can look at that. Let's look at all of our opportunities. Hopefully they're over 50. No, of course not. It'll load 50 at a time. If you scroll down though, it'll load the next 50. It's basically Salesforce trying to save loading a bunch of data that's not necessary and showing you 50 records at a time until you scroll to the bottom, and then it loads the next 50. So those are some of the kind of key tips that I would recommend about this. There are a couple different things we'll look at that are a little bit more advanced, like what's the view here, table or Kanban. I'm going to go ahead and cover that in a separate video. For right now, I think you've got some basics about making these list views. The only other one that I didn't cover is you can certainly add a new list view. This button is to make a new list view. This is to make a new, whatever the tab is, new opportunity. But when you click here on the gear tool and then to new, you can name your own list instead of cloning off of an existing list, and decide on the visibility here. And then once you've done that, you're back to the stage of, all right, let me figure out what fields are going to be on here, what order. And if you click on edit list filters, it just opens this up. So I use these kind of shortcuts over here, and we'll talk about some of these other tools in a separate video. I hope this tutorial was helpful. Leave comments or ideas for videos you want us to make, and hit us with a like and subscribe to hear about new content we'll be releasing soon. Until then, we've provided some video recommendations at the bottom of the screen, and if you need more immediate help, you can book a consultation by using the link in the description, and we'll be happy to help you out.